and better. And you know what? Those kinds of things, that's not where we take our value anyway.
But I'm just so small. I know what I could never do.
Well, you know, God uses people who aren't very big. He doesn't look at that.
He uses tiny people too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a guy I want to tell you about. His name was David.
David? But I thought he could fight giants. Wasn't he big?
Oh, but that was later in his life.
What?
God chose him when he was only a little boy.
Little like me?
That's right. And you know what? He was still precious to God. He still had God's favor. And God had big plans for him.
Can I hear the story, please?
Sure.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
It happens way back in time in a town long, long ago in a country called Israel.
Wow.
Get ready.
Okay.
God's people had a new land. Now they wanted a king. But God is your king, Samuel told them. He is the one who looks after you best. We want a real king, they said. One we can see.
We want a real king. We want a real king. We want a real king. We want a real king.
God knew that a king might not be kind to his people or look after them as well as he would. But God's people didn't care. They wanted a king, and they wanted him now. So God gave them a king. And he was called Saul. And he seemed like a good king at first, but he became proud and stopped listening to God. He didn't obey God or love God with his whole heart.
Saul can't help me with my plan. I need a king who loves me and will teach my people to love me. I need a true king.
God had just the one in mind.
Go to Bethlehem, Samuel. You'll find a new king there.
Samuel's job was to listen to God and tell people what God had said. So Samuel went to a little town of Bethlehem. God told Samuel to go to Jesse's house. God was going to choose one of Jesse's sons to be the new king. Jesse had 7 strong sons. Now in those days, if you were going to be king, you didn't have to be the richest or the cleverest, although that was nice. You had to look like a king, which meant you had to be the tallest and the strongest, so you could carry the longest swords and the biggest armor that could defeat everyone. And it didn't hurt to be handsome either. So Samuel asked Jesse to bring him each son in turn. So Jesse brought the oldest, tallest, strongest son. This must be the new king, Samuel thought. He looks like a king. But God didn't choose him.
You're thinking about what he looks like on the outside, Samuel, but I am looking at his heart, what he's like on the inside.
So Jesse showed Samuel the next oldest, tallest, strongest son. But God didn't choose him either. In fact, God didn't choose any of the 7 sons. Samuel said, "Is that all?" Jesse laughed. Well, there's the youngest one, but he's just the weakling of the family. He's only teeny. Bring him, said Samuel. Jesse's youngest son came running up, and God spoke quietly to Samuel.
This is the one.
His name was David.
He has a heart like mine. It is full of love. He will help me with my secret rescue plan. And one of his children's children's children will be the king. And that king will rule the world forever.
Samuel anointed David's head with oil, which was a special way to show that you are God's chosen king. You will be the new king one day, Samuel told him. And sure enough, when he grew up, David became king. God chose David to be king because God was getting his people ready for an even greater king who was coming. Once again, God would say, "Go to Bethlehem. You'll find the new king there." And there, one starry night in Bethlehem, in the town of David, 3 wise men would find him.
This is the ending, guys.
Oh,
Wow! Doug, that was amazing! I had no idea that David was the smallest of all those brothers!
Yeah.
Wow! And God didn't choose him because he was strong or handsome.
oh, he was a pipsqueak.
Yeah, he was little bitty! And God was like, I want you, David! And that's just so awesome!
Oh, yeah, he didn't really have anything that people could boast about. But you know what he had? He had a love for God and a pure heart. And you know what? God would use that in mighty ways.
That's amazing, Doc!
That's right. So remember, it's not about what you look like on the outside. It's about what you have in your heart. And it's about your love for God.
Did David do big things after that story?
Well, a couple things. He became king, and then he conquered armies.
Whoa!
And then he expanded the kingdom and created an eternal dynasty.
That's incredible!
Yeah, he was pretty good, I'd say.
Oh, wow! I want to be like David when I
But you
get
know what?
bigger.
He did some bad things too.
What?
Yeah, he's not perfect. He's a man. He's a person just like you and me. But you know what?
What?
God saw that even when he messed up, David went to God. He went to God when things were good, and he
when
went
they
to
were
God
bad?
when things were bad.
So I can go to God when I do good things and when I do bad things?
That's right. He
Wow.
always wants to hear from you.
So maybe I could pray to him about how I can't jump the rope, and maybe God will help me be more confident.
Maybe. And you know what? Praying to God is always a good way to go. You know, sometimes he answers yes, sometimes he answers no, sometimes he answers not yet. But God is always ready to listen to you.
You know, it sounds like he listened to David because David had a heart like God's. He really wanted to do what God wanted him to. So I think I want to do that too.
That's great. And you know what? That's what he wants.
Thanks, Doc. This has been so awesome. I'm gonna go jump my rope.
Go jump that rope. Go, 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 go.
And that's the